I felt hands on my back as I stood at the cliff's edge in Santorini, the Aegean sunset painting the white buildings gold. The wineglass slipped from my fingers as I fell forward, but I didn't scream. 20 feet down, my hands caught the iron safety railing, hidden from view above by the cliff's curve. My shoulders exploded in pain. My feet dangled over another 100-foot drop to the rocks below. Above me, I heard my nephew Tyler's voice, breathless but controlled. "Sarah, Sophia, come quick." A pause, then his tone shifted, relief mixed with excitement. "Rob collapsed. I think it's his heart. Oh God, I think he went over the edge." I hung there in the growing darkness, my 65-year-old arms trembling, and made a decision. I wouldn't call out. Not yet. I needed to know what Tyler would say when he thought I was gone. Let me back up. "Mr. Mitchell, if you'll sign here, and here." 30 years compressed into a stack of papers. I picked up the Mont Blanc pen. Linda had given it to me on our 20th anniversary, and signed the final page. Mitchell Technologies, sold, $120 million. The lawyers clapped politely. I felt nothing. A hand touched my shoulder. Sarah. My daughter had flown in from New York for this moment. "Congratulations, Dad," she said, voice cracking. "Mom would be so proud." Linda. Gone 5 years to cancer. She'd always said I worked too much, that I'd regret missing Sarah's childhood for board meetings and product launches. She'd been right. "I'm taking time off," I told Sarah as we left the building. "Real time." Sarah smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. At 38, she'd inherited my work ethic. Her architectural firm kept her buried in 80-hour weeks. "That sounds great, Dad." She was already reaching for her phone. "Come with me to Greece," I said. 5 days, my 65th birthday, somewhere your mother and I always talked about visiting but never did. She hesitated. "The Anderson project is entering critical phase, and Sarah." I took her hand. "When your mother was dying, she made me promise something. She said, 'Don't let our daughter make the same mistakes you did. Don't let her wake up at 65 realizing she built a company but lost her life.'" Something shifted in her expression. "Okay." 5 days. I invited 3 others, James Sullivan, my lawyer of 20 years, and Tyler Bradford, my late brother's son. I'd put Tyler through college after Michael died, got him a job at Mitchell Technologies as VP of Marketing. Sarah had recommended him. "This is going to be amazing, Uncle Rob," Tyler said when I told him. "You deserve this. 30 years of grinding, and finally you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor." I should have heard it then. The edge in how he said your labor. The villa exceeded every expectation. Perched on the caldera, white stone terraces cascading toward an infinity pool, the Aegean spreading before us like a blue dream. Sarah actually put her phone away. "Dad, this is incredible." "Your mother would have loved this," I said quietly. James arrived looking uncomfortable in vacation clothes, laptop bag on his shoulder. "Just in case," he said sheepishly. Sophia, the housekeeper, greeted us, a quiet woman in her 50s with observant eyes. She moved efficiently, explaining the amenities in careful English. Tyler arrived last in a rental convertible, bottles of wine in hand and a designer silk scarf for Sarah. "For my favorite cousin, to match the Aegean." He produced a third bottle, 30-year Macallan. For the man of the hour. That first evening, we gathered on the terrace at sunset. Sophia had prepared fresh sea bass and local wine. "I've been thinking about what to do with the money," I said. "Maybe a foundation for young entrepreneurs who can't get traditional funding." "That's generous," Tyler said, refilling his glass. "Have you thought about tax implications? With the right structure, you could save millions." "I'm not trying to save money. I'm trying to spend it wisely." "Of course." He leaned back. "I just mean you should talk to estate planners. Make sure everything's set up right. You know, in case I die?" I laughed. "I'm 65, not 90. "Obviously. I just meant it's smart to plan ahead. Have you updated your will? Named an executor? These things matter with this much money." Sarah frowned. "Tyler, this is supposed to be a vacation." "You're right. Sorry. He raised his glass. To Rob, to retirement, to family. We drank, but I noticed Tyler watching me over the rim, something calculating in his eyes. I woke early to typing sounds. Tyler was on the terrace, hunched over his laptop. Couldn't sleep? I asked. He jumped, quickly closing it. Jesus, Uncle Rob, you scared me. What are you working on? Just checking emails. He rubbed his face. Actually, since you mentioned estate planning, I've been reading up. Without proper documentation, estate taxes could eat up almost half your net worth. Sarah could lose $60 million. I set down my coffee. That's why I have James. Sure, but James isn't an estate specialist, and he's getting up there in age. What if something happens to him? Tyler leaned forward. You need redundancy. A younger executor. Someone who understands modern finance. He paused. Someone like me. Tyler, I appreciate the concern, but I'm healthy. I'm planning to be around a long time. Of course. He laughed, but it sounded forced. Just saying proper planning is important. I found Sarah in the pool, swimming laps. She pulled off her goggles, breathing hard. Does Tyler seem different to you? I asked. More interested in money? Tyler's always been interested in money. Why? He's very concerned about my estate planning, about what happens if I die. He's probably just trying to be helpful. You did just sell your company for a fortune. Maybe. But my instinct was screaming something was wrong. That afternoon, Tyler suggested wine tasting. James begged off, but Sarah was excited. At the vineyard, we sampled 6 wines. I noticed Tyler barely touched his glass. On the drive back, he pulled off the main road. There's a scenic overlook near here. Best sunset view on the island. The overlook was small, a stone wall and iron railing. Beyond it, the cliff dropped 150 feet to rocks below. Let me get a photo, Tyler said. Sarah, stand next to your dad. We posed. Tyler snapped several shots, then said, Uncle Rob, how about one of just you to commemorate your first week of retirement? I walked to the railing. The drop was dizzying. Perfect. Now turn and look at the view. I turned my back. Behind me I heard footsteps. Close. Too close. Tyler, Sarah's voice, uncertain, just getting the right angle. I felt him move behind me. My Marine training kicked in, that awareness of space and threat. I stepped sideways just as I felt displacement of air where hands had reached. Tyler stumbled past me, catching the railing. Whoa! I grabbed his arm. Careful there. His face was flushed, breathing heavy. Sorry, I tripped, but his shoes had flat soles and the ground was smooth. And his eyes, for just a second, I saw rage, disappointment. We drove back in silence. The next evening was my actual birthday. Sophia prepared a special dinner on the terrace. James gave me a first edition of East of Eden. Sarah gave me a framed photo of us with Linda when Sarah was 12. I found it in Mom's things, she said softly. My throat tightened. Thank you, sweetheart. Tyler cleared his throat. And my gift. Something special. He produced a bottle with a flourish. 1985 Silver Oak Cabernet, your birth year, the same vintage you and Aunt Linda shared on your 20th anniversary. How did he know that? He poured carefully. The wine was dark as blood. I raised it to my lips. Wait! Sophia's voice, sharp and sudden. Everyone turned. She stood frozen, staring at Tyler with wide eyes, face pale, trembling. She said something in rapid Greek, then set down her plates with a clatter and hurried inside. What was that about? Sarah asked. Tyler laughed nervously. Who knows? Maybe she's superstitious. But I'd seen Sophia's face. She'd been afraid. I set down my glass. I'm feeling off. Too much sun. I'll stick with water tonight. Tyler's smile tightened. Come on, Uncle Rob, one glass. It's your birthday. I went to a lot of trouble. Flew it in special from California. I said no. My voice had edge. Silence fell. Tyler stood abruptly. Fine, I need air. He walked to the terrace edge. I followed. Tyler, I didn't mean to snap. It's fine. He gripped the railing, knuckles white. Uncle Rob, can I ask you something? Hypothetically? Sure. If someone had a chance to secure their future, but it meant doing something difficult, would you judge them? That depends on what difficult means. What if Sarah couldn't handle $120 million? What if she lost it all? Wouldn't it be better if someone more financially savvy managed it? Sarah is perfectly capable, but what if she's not? What if she's too much like you, brilliant at her craft, terrible with money? Wouldn't it be better if I... He stopped. If you what, Tyler? He looked at me, and I saw hunger, resentment. Nothing. Forget I said anything. He walked inside, leaving me with growing dread. I found Sophia in the kitchen, hands shaking as she scrubbed pots. You saw something, I said quietly. What was it? She shook her head. Sophia, please. She looked at the doorway, then told me in broken English. 2 hours earlier, she'd seen Tyler grinding something into powder, pouring it into the wine bottle. She'd come from the pantry and he hadn't noticed. She'd heard him muttering, just needs to look natural. Heart attack at his age, finally get what I deserve. My blood ran cold. Why didn't you tell me immediately? I was scared. He is your nephew. Who believes the housekeeper? Do you have security cameras? She nodded. In kitchen. For insurance. In her small office, she pulled up footage. Timestamp 4:47 p.m. Tyler entered the frame, glancing around. He pulled the silver oak from the wine rack. From his pocket, a small glass vial. He ground the contents into powder, opened the wine with a corkscrew, poured the powder in, recorked it. 90 seconds total. Send this to my email, I said, and don't tell anyone, not yet. I found Sarah by the pool. I think Tyler has a gambling problem. I think he's desperate for money. She frowned. What makes you think that? The estate questions, the pushiness. I can't explain everything. Just trust me. Dad, if you're worried, let's just go home tomorrow. Because I need to know how far he'll go. I need proof. Proof of what? Tyler appeared above us. There you guys are. Come on, Uncle Rob. At least let me get a photo with the sunset. It's perfect right now. Sarah started up the steps. I caught her arm. Wait here. I climbed alone. Tyler waited at the terrace edge where the wall was waist high and the cliff dropped into darkness. Come on over, Uncle Rob. The light's perfect. I walked toward him slowly. He raised his phone. A little closer. I want the whole vista. The wall came to my waist. One push and I'd go over. Perfect. Now turn around. Look at the view. I turned my back. Heard his footsteps. Closer. Tyler. James's voice, sharp. I need Rob. Legal question about the foundation. Tyler froze. Can it wait? It can't. Rob my room in 5 minutes. In the study, I told James everything. The wine, the footage, the cliff attempts. We need to call the police, James said. And tell them what? That my nephew gave me wine? Without proof of what's in it, without catching him in the act, we have nothing. Then what do you propose? I need him to show his hand, with witnesses, with undeniable proof. You're talking about making yourself bait. It's the only way. Will you help me? James cleaned his glasses, his thinking gesture. Catherine would kill me. Catherine would understand. All right, what's your plan? James and I worked through the night in his room, blinds drawn, voices low. First, we need to know what's in that wine, James said, pulling out his phone. I have a contact in Athens, discreet lab work, no questions asked. I've used him before for corporate litigation. He made the call, spoke in hushed tones. Arrangements were made for Sophia to courier the wine on the morning ferry. He'll have results by tomorrow afternoon, James said. Now, the recording equipment. He opened his laptop bag. Inside, beneath the computer, was a small case. He'd brought a button camera for business meetings. High definition, records for 8 hours, transmits to his phone. You'll wear this, he said. Sophia can record video through the kitchen window on her phone. I'll record audio from the lower terrace. We'll have 3 angles. And the police? I know someone on the Santorini tourism board. Helped them with a legal matter last year. I'll have officers on standby 2 minutes away. He paused. Rob, are you sure about this? If he succeeds, he won't. There's an iron railing 20 feet down. I've done practice falls from 15 feet in the Marines. I can catch it. You were 25 then. Now you're 65. I run 3 miles every morning. I'm in better shape than most men my age. James looked at me for a long moment. What's the plan for after? Assuming you survive? I stay silent. Let him think I'm dead. See what he says, what he does. He'll confess. People always do when they think they've won. And if he doesn't? Then we have attempted murder on video. That's enough. At 3 a.m. we heard a soft knock. Sophia slipped in, eyes red from crying. I think about my daughter, she whispered. Same age as Miss Sarah. If someone tries to hurt her father, she shook her head. I help you, Mr. Rob. Whatever you need. Thank you, Sophia. This means everything. James's phone buzzed at 2 p.m. the next day. He read the message, face darkening. Digitalis, he said. Cardiac glycoside derived from foxglove, enough to cause fatal arrhythmia in someone your age, especially combined with alcohol. And here's the clever part. It's nearly untraceable in a standard autopsy unless they specifically test for it. He did his homework. There's more. James turned his laptop toward me. While you were out with Sarah this morning, I got into Tyler's laptop. He left it on the terrace, went inside for coffee. I needed 30 seconds. On the screen was a document. A will. My will, except I'd never seen it before, dated 2 weeks ago, naming Tyler as primary executor and 50% beneficiary. My signature at the bottom, forged, but expertly done, pulled from old Mitchell Technologies documents. He was planning this before the trip, I said slowly. He lured me to Santorini specifically. Remote location, romantic tragedy, no witnesses, perfect crime. James closed the laptop. Rob, this man is more dangerous than we thought. We stick to the plan, but now we have even more evidence. That afternoon, I found Tyler on the terrace working on his laptop. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. Hey, I said, sitting beside him. About last night. I'm sorry I snapped about the wine. I've been stressed about foundation paperwork. Benjamin said something that got under my skin. Tyler's eyes flickered with interest. It's fine, Uncle Rob. I'm being paranoid, I smiled. You put thought into that wine. Least I can do is let you take that birthday photo you wanted. The light's still good now. Want to do it? His entire demeanor changed. Eyes lit up. Posture straightened. Really? Yeah, absolutely. Let's go. I watched his face carefully. Hunger mixed with excitement. The look of a man seeing his opportunity return. Tyler checked his watch. 6:47 p.m., sunset in 13 minutes. He glanced toward the kitchen. Sophia was inside, visible through the window, but safely out of earshot. James sat on the lower terrace with a book, seemingly absorbed. Sarah was in her room on a video call with her firm, headphones on. Perfect timing. No witnesses. This is going to be great, Uncle Rob, Tyler said, leading me to the terrace edge. The sky was streaking orange and purple. I positioned myself with my back to the cliff, feeling the drop behind me. The button camera on my shirt was recording. Sophia's phone was pointed at us through the kitchen window. James's phone was capturing audio from below. Perfect, Tyler said. Now turn around. Look at the sunset. I want to capture your expression. I turned my back to him. My Marine training kicked in, hyper-aware of every sound, every movement. I heard his breathing change, quick and shallow, the rustle of fabric as he pocketed his phone, the soft scuff of his shoes on stone as he moved closer, closer. My muscles tensed, ready. Tyler, what are you doing? Sarah's voice from the doorway, sharp, questioning. Tyler jerked. Taking a photo. You're not holding your phone. Time slowed. I felt Tyler's calculation, felt his decision, now or never. The push came hard between my shoulder blades. Professional, committed, no hesitation. I twisted, Marine instinct reaching for the wall edge. Missed, free fall. 1.5 seconds, 20 feet. My hands caught the iron railing. The impact sent lightning through my shoulders. My rotator cuff screamed. My legs dangled over another 100 feet of empty air. I did a quick assessment. Grip, Secure but slipping. Shoulders burning but holding. Time, maybe 5 minutes before my grip failed, 7 if I was lucky. Above me, Tyler's voice, breathless. Sarah, Sophia, come quick. Strategic pause. Then, voice shifting to something panicked. Rob collapsed. I think it's his heart. More dramatic. Oh God, I think he went over the edge. I hung in the growing darkness and stayed silent. This was it. The moment of truth. Footsteps pounding. Sarah's scream. Dad, Dad, running. Multiple people. What happened? Sarah's voice, hysterical. Tyler, Oscar-worthy performance. He was looking at the sunset and then he grabbed his chest and just went over. It happened so fast. I tried to grab him, but we have to call for help. Sarah sobbing. Sarah, wait. Tyler's voice changed, calculating. Think about this. Think about what? My father just... If they find him down there, the investigation, the press, all those questions, wouldn't it be better if... He trailed off. Let the implication hang. Long silence. I hung there, arms trembling, listening. Better if what? Sarah's voice, dangerous now. I'm just saying, an old man, retirement celebration, heart attack at a scenic overlook. It's tragic but natural. Nobody needs to know about the cliff. We could say he collapsed in his room, died peacefully. Another pause. Then Sarah, voice like ice. Are you suggesting we lie about how my father died? I'm trying to protect his legacy, protect you from what? An inheritance? I heard Tyler's mask cracking. You think you deserve all of it? The full $120 million? What are you talking about? Sarah, be realistic. You're going to blow it on charity projects and foundations. You're brilliant at design but terrible with money, just like Rob. You're talking about my father like he's already dead. He is dead. Tyler's voice rose, losing control. And honestly, it's for the best. Sophia's voice, scared. Senor Tyler, what you say? Sophia, stay out of this. This is family business. Sarah's voice shook. Family? You want to cover up my father's death for money? Not just money. My right. Tyler was fully unraveling now. Do you know what it's like being the charity case? The nephew who's here because his father died? My arms were screaming. I pulled my legs up, wrapped them around the railing for better support. Had to hold on a little longer. I've watched you coast on your last name while I worked twice as hard for half the recognition. Tyler's words came fast now, poisonous. I've watched Rob hand everything to you just because you're his daughter. Tyler, I earned a piece of that $120 million. I earned it with 3 years of 90-hour weeks, with every campaign I ran, every deal I closed. And instead, Rob was going to give it all away to strangers. To some foundation for people who can't get traditional funding. You know what that means? Failures. People who couldn't make it on their own. Stop. I tried to take what should have been mine, what I deserved. Silence. The words hung in the air like smoke. Then Sarah quietly, tried to take? You pushed him. I heard Tyler's sharp intake of breath, the realization of what he'd said. No, I didn't mean, oh my God, Sarah's voice broke. Oh my God, you tried to kill him. Sarah, wait, I can explain. You murdered my father. I didn't murder anyone. He was going to waste it all. I needed that money. I deserved it. Sophia's voice shaking. I call police now. Wait, Sophia, don't. This isn't. Tyler's voice pitched higher, desperate. I can fix this. I can make this look right. We can all benefit. Sarah, think about it. We split the inheritance 50-50. Nobody has to know anything. You're insane, Sarah whispered. I'm practical. Tyler shouted. Unlike your father, unlike you. Always dreaming about helping people, about making a difference, about legacy. You know what legacy gets you? Nothing. Money is what matters. Money is power. James's voice cut through, calm and authoritative. That's enough, Tyler. Footsteps. James must have climbed from the lower terrace. Tyler's voice changed again. Fear now. You were listening? I've recorded everything, James said. Every word. You can't. You're a corporate lawyer. You don't have authority. I also sit on the Santorini Tourism Board Legal Committee, and I've already called the police. They're 90 seconds away. Pause. Then Tyler, desperate. That recording won't hold up. I was in shock. I didn't know what I was saying. You knew exactly what you were saying. You also knew what you were doing when you poisoned Rob's wine with digitalis yesterday, when you forged his will 2 weeks ago, when you embezzled $2, $8 million from Mitchell Technologies over the last 18 months. You can't prove any of that. We have security footage of you tampering with the wine. We have the forged documents on your laptop. We have forensic accountants reviewing the company books as we speak. James paused. It's over, Tyler. Silence. Then a strange sound. Tyler laughing. Not quite sane. He was going to give it all away, Tyler said, almost conversational now. Every penny. To strangers. To people who hadn't earned it. Do you know what that's like? Watching someone throw away a fortune you'd kill for? You did kill for it, Sarah said. I tried. I failed. Another laugh. Story of my life, right? James spoke again. Tyler Bradford, you're under arrest for attempted murder. I suggest you don't say another word until you have a lawyer. My left hand was slipping. My right shoulder was on fire. I'd been hanging for almost 6 minutes, couldn't hold much longer. James, I called up, voice strained. Any time now would be good. Gasps from above. Dad? Sarah's scream, but different now. Joy mixed with shock. Dad, you're alive! Tyler's voice, barely a whisper. No, that's not. You went over. I caught the railing, I grunted, and I heard everything. Uncle Rob, please, I didn't mean this isn't. Save it for the judge. Sarah's face appeared over the edge, tears streaming. Oh my God, Dad, hold on. Trying to, I managed. It took all 3 of them, James, Sophia, and Sarah, to pull me back over the wall. My arms wouldn't work properly. They had to grip my wrists, haul me up like dead weight. When I finally cleared the wall, I collapsed on the terrace, every muscle shaking violently. Sarah threw her arms around me, sobbing into my shoulder. I held her with arms that barely functioned, feeling her tears soak through my shirt. Tyler stood backed against the far wall, face ashen, staring at me like I was a ghost. This isn't. I can explain. Uncle Rob, please, You can't explain attempting to murder your uncle, James said coldly. Sirens approached, growing louder. Blue lights flickered across the white buildings. The Greek police arrived with an ambulance. 2 officers, a paramedic. James spoke to them in rapid Greek. I hadn't known he spoke the language. The paramedics checked me over. Bruised ribs, strained rotator cuffs in both shoulders, mild shock, nothing broken. They wanted to take me to the hospital. I refused. I want to see this through, I said. The police took Tyler in handcuffs. As they led him past me, he stopped. I just wanted what you had, he whispered, not meeting my eyes. I looked at him. This boy I'd helped raise, put through college, given a career. I know, I said quietly. That's the tragedy. They put him in the police car. Through the window, I watched him stare at his handcuffed wrists, face blank with shock. Sarah sat beside me, still shaking. I almost lost you. But you didn't. I put my arm around her. I'm right here. Why didn't you tell me what he was planning? Because I wasn't certain, and I needed proof. I paused. And because if I'd told you, you would have tried to stop me. You used yourself as bait. That was insane. It was necessary. She laughed through her tears. Mom would have killed you. Your mother is probably killing me right now, wherever she is. James brought me whiskey. Good whiskey. I drank it in one swallow, feeling it burn away some of the adrenaline. Thank you, I said to him. Don't thank me yet. We still have a trial to get through. But that night, sitting on the terrace where I'd nearly died, with my daughter beside me and my oldest friend nearby, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Alive. Truly, completely alive. Sarah and I sat in the same spot where I'd nearly died. The moon had risen over the Aegean, painting a silver path across the water. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, she broke the silence. I brought him into your company. Sarah, no, let me finish. Her voice was steady but strained. I vouched for him. I told you he was brilliant. that he understood marketing better than anyone. I pushed for his promotion last year. She looked at me, eyes red. I almost got you killed because I was blind. You didn't know. I should have. She wiped her eyes. The signs were there, Dad. He was always comparing himself to others, always talking about who deserved what, about people getting things they didn't earn. I thought it was ambition. I thought it was drive. It was ambition. Just the poisonous kind. She laughed bitterly. We grew up together. I trusted him completely, and he tried to murder you for money. I took her hand. Tyler made his choices. You're not responsible for them. Then why does it feel like I am? Because you have a good heart. Because you believe the best in people. I squeezed her hand. Don't let Tyler's betrayal kill that in you. The world needs more people who trust, not fewer. She leaned her head on my shoulder. We sat like that for a while, listening to the waves far below. Dad, why didn't you tell me? She asked finally. When you suspected? When you found the video? Because I wasn't completely sure. Because accusing your childhood friend of attempted murder isn't something you do lightly. I paused. And because if I'd told you, you would have tried to stop me from setting that trap. You would have insisted we just leave, call the police, let them handle it. I would have. And you're insane for doing what you did. Maybe, but it was the only way to get undeniable proof. You could have died. But I didn't. She pulled back to look at me. What were you thinking? Hanging from that railing, listening to him? I considered the question. I was thinking about all the moments I'd missed, all the school plays, all the birthdays, all the times I chose a conference call over a conversation with you. And I thought, if I survive this, I'm going to make different choices. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I've been making the same mistakes, haven't I? The same ones you and Mom fought about. Yes. I need to change. Yes. She laughed through her tears. You're not going to sugarcoat it? You're 38 years old. You don't need me to sugarcoat anything? I put my arm around her. But I'll help you figure it out, if you want. I do. She took a deep breath. I'm taking a leave of absence from my firm. 3 months, maybe 6. Sarah, you don't have to. Yes, I do. For me, not for you. She looked at me with Linda's determination. I almost lost you without ever really knowing you, the real you, not just the Sunday phone calls and quarterly visits where we talk about work and weather. My throat tightened. What do you want to know? Everything. Tell me about Mom, about your life before success, about the things that actually matter to you, not the things you think you should say. That might take more than 3 months. Then I'll take 6 or 12 or however long it takes. She smiled. I want to learn who my father is before it's too late. We talked until dawn. I told her about meeting Linda at a coffee shop near campus, how she'd spilled her latte on my engineering textbook and insisted on buying me dinner to make up for it, how that dinner turned into a 6-hour conversation about everything and nothing, how I'd known by the end of that night that I'd marry her. Sarah told me about her fears, about the pressure of living up to my legacy, about feeling like she had to prove herself twice as hard because she was my daughter, about the loneliness of working 90-hour weeks with no one waiting at home. The foundation idea, she said as the sky began to lighten. I want to help, not just with money, with time, real time. Are you sure? I'm an architect, Dad. I design spaces. What better space to design than one that launches dreams? She smiled. We'll call it the Linda Mitchell Foundation. Mom would love that. I know. We stayed for the legal proceedings. The Greek authorities were thorough. James coordinated with prosecutors, translated documents, managed the growing media circus. The story had broken internationally. Tech mogul survives nephew's murder plot in Santorini. Reporters camped outside the villa. I gave one interview to a journalist I respected, then refused all others. Tyler was charged with attempted murder, fraud, forgery, and embezzlement. The evidence was overwhelming. Security footage showed him tampering with the wine. Lab analysis confirmed digitalis in the bottle. 3 separate recordings captured his confession. The forged will was found on his laptop, along with offshore accounts containing the embezzled money. The prosecution built their case methodically. Mr. Bradford didn't just try to kill his uncle, the lead prosecutor said at the preliminary hearing. He planned it. He researched untraceable poisons. He forged legal documents. He chose a remote location. He created a plausible cover story. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was premeditated murder for financial gain. Tyler's lawyer advised him to plead guilty. Avoid trial. Hope for mercy. I visited James's room one evening. He was reviewing documents, glasses perched on his nose. "The prosecutor wants a statement from you," he said, "for the sentencing hearing." "What should I say?" "Whatever you feel. They want to understand the impact." I thought about it. I don't want revenge, James. I want him to understand what he destroyed. Understanding and remorse aren't the same thing. I know, but maybe in prison with time he'll figure it out. James removed his glasses, cleaned them. "You're more forgiving than I'd be." "Not forgiving, just releasing it. He'll have to live with what he did. I refuse to let it poison the rest of my life." The sentencing hearing was 3 weeks later. Tyler pleaded guilty to all charges. The courtroom was small, formal. Tyler sat between his lawyers, thinner than I remembered, prison jumpsuit hanging loose on his frame. He didn't look at me. The judge reviewed the evidence, spoke in English for my benefit. "Mr. Bradford, this court has rarely seen such calculated malice. You didn't just attempt to end your uncle's life. You attempted to profit from it. You forged documents, poisoned wine, and when your first attempts failed, you physically pushed a 65-year-old man off a cliff." Tyler stared at his hands. "The prosecution asks for 30 years. The defense asks for leniency, citing your previously clean record." The judge paused. "However, there is something this court must address." She nodded to Tyler's lawyer. He stood, looking uncomfortable. "Your Honor, there is a medical matter relevant to sentencing. Mr. Bradford was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma 6 months before the incident. Stage 3. Prognosis at the time was 2 to 3 years. The courtroom went silent. Sarah grabbed my hand. "Your Honor," the lawyer continued, "while this in no way excuses his actions, it provides context for his desperation. He believed he was dying. He wanted to secure something for his future, however short." I felt Sarah tense beside me. I squeezed her hand back. The judge looked at Tyler. "Did your uncle know about your diagnosis?" Tyler shook his head, voice barely audible. "No, Your Honor." "Did you ask him for help, for money to cover treatment?" "No." "Why not?" Long silence. Then Tyler looked up, looked at me for the first time. "Because I didn't want charity. I wanted what I'd earned." The judge's expression hardened. "You hadn't earned it, Mr. Bradford. That's what you fail to understand. Your uncle's money was his to do with as he pleased. He owed you nothing." She shuffled papers. "This court acknowledges your illness. It adds a tragic dimension to this case, but it does not excuse attempted murder. It does not justify fraud, forgery, or embezzlement. If anything, knowing you had limited time makes your choice to spend it committing crimes even more incomprehensible." She looked directly at Tyler. "Mr. Bradford, you didn't just try to kill your uncle. You tried to kill the very concept of family, of trust, of love. May you spend your time in prison learning the value of what you destroyed. This court sentences you to 28 years without possibility of parole." Tyler closed his eyes, didn't react. The bailiffs led him away in handcuffs. Sarah and I walked out into Mediterranean sunshine. Reporters shouted questions. James shielded us, got us to a car. 28 years, Sarah said quietly. He'll be 66 when he gets out. If he lives that long, I said. The cancer. Do you think he's really sick, or was that a sympathy play? The medical records were verified. It's real. She looked out the window. Does that change anything? How you feel about him? I thought about it. It explains his desperation, but it doesn't excuse what he did. He had choices. He chose murder. The Linda Mitchell Foundation launched on a clear October morning in Oakland. Sarah had designed the headquarters herself, a beautiful converted warehouse with exposed brick, high ceilings, and natural light flooding through restored industrial windows. The space housed offices, meeting rooms, and an incubator area where funded startups could work side by side. Sarah had added touches Linda would have loved: a community kitchen, a rooftop garden, comfortable furniture that invited conversation instead of transaction. "Your mother would be proud," I told Sarah at the opening ceremony. "I hope so." She looked around at the space, at the entrepreneurs already moving in. "This feels right, Dad, more right than anything I've built before." That first year, we funded 50 companies. People with brilliant ideas but no connections, no safety net, no Ivy League pedigree. People who reminded me of myself 40 years ago, hungry and determined and willing to work themselves to exhaustion for a chance. Sarah split her time between the foundation and a new architectural practice she'd started. Small, selective, focused on affordable housing and community spaces. She was making half what she'd made at her Manhattan firm. She'd never been happier. We had dinner together twice a week, Tuesday nights at her apartment, Thursday nights at mine. We didn't talk about business much. We talked about books, about ideas, about memories of Linda. "Remember the summer she made us go camping?" Sarah said one Thursday over pasta. "You were so miserable without your phone and laptop." "I was checking stock prices on a smuggled tablet." "I know. Mom found it the second day and threw it in the lake." I laughed. I'd forgotten that part. I was so angry. And then I actually relaxed. We hiked, we sat by the fire, we talked. I paused. It was one of the best weeks of my life, and I'd almost ruined it by working. Sarah smiled. "That's why she did it. She was always trying to save you from yourself." "She succeeded sometimes. She'd be happy you finally figured it out." 3 months into Tyler's sentence, I made the trip to see him. James advised against it. Sarah asked why I needed to go. "Closure," I said. "For both of us." The prison was gray and institutional, all concrete and razor wire. They led me to a visitation room, plastic chairs, scarred table, guard by the door. Tyler looked smaller. Prison had hollowed him out. His hair was shorter, his face gaunt. He sat across from me, neither of us speaking for a long moment. Finally, he said, "I suppose you want me to apologize." "No," I said. "An apology would mean you understand what you did wrong. I don't think you do. I wanted what you had. Is that so terrible? Wanting it? No. Being willing to kill for it? Yes." I leaned forward. "Tyler, I would have helped you. If you'd come to me 6 months ago and said you were sick, that you were scared, that you needed money for treatment, I would have helped you. I didn't want charity. It wouldn't have been charity. Your family." He laughed bitterly. "Family. That's easy for you to say. You were always the successful one, the one who made it. Do you know what it's like living in that shadow? Being Michael's son or Rob's nephew, but never just Tyler? I know what it's like to work 80-hour weeks for 30 years, to miss my daughter's childhood, to barely see my wife before she died." I paused. "Success doesn't mean I didn't struggle, Tyler. It means I chose what to struggle for." He looked away. "You don't understand." "Then help me understand. You had a good job, a good salary, a life. Why throw it all away for money?" "Because money is the only thing that matters." His voice rose. "Money is power. Money is respect. Money is the difference between being someone and being nothing. Is that what you think? That without money you're nothing? Isn't it true? Look at your life, Uncle Rob. People respect you because you're rich. The foundation exists because you're rich. Sarah has opportunities because you're rich. Money bought all of that." "Money bought none of it," I said quietly. "People respect character, not bank accounts. The foundation exists because Linda taught me about purpose. Sarah has opportunities because she's talented and works hard, not because of my money." I stood. I hope someday you understand that, but I'm not going to wait around to see if you do. I walked to the door. His voice stopped me. Uncle Rob? I turned. I'm sorry you caught the railing. Not sorry he pushed me. Sorry I survived. Goodbye, Tyler. I never saw him again. My phone rang at midnight. Sarah's name on the screen. My heart jumped. Middle of the night calls were never good news. Dad, I'm sorry to wake you. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Her voice was shaking, but not with fear, with joy. Everything's right. I had to tell you. Tell me what? I'm pregnant, Dad. A sob laugh. You're going to be a grandfather. I sat down on my balcony, San Francisco fog rolling in below, and felt something break open in my chest. Sarah. I know it's unexpected. David and I weren't even trying, but congratulations, sweetheart. That's wonderful. You're going to be there, right? For all of it? Not like... She trailed off. Not like I was for you, I finished. Yes, I'll be there for every moment, every ultrasound, every first word, every stumbling step. Not because I have to, because I want to. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time, thinking about Greece and iron railings and the choices that define us. Thinking about a nephew consumed by greed and a daughter learning to choose life over work. Thinking about second chances and how rare they are. If there's a lesson in all this, it's simple. Hold on. When life pushes you over the edge, find something to grab onto. And when you pull yourself back up, make sure you're climbing towards something worth the effort. Family, love, time. These are the things worth holding on to. Everything else, the money, the success, the empire, you can let go. I looked out at the fog-wrapped city and thought about the future, about a grandchild I'd be present for, about a foundation changing lives, about a daughter I finally knew. Tyler had tried to kill me for money. Instead, he'd given me the greatest gift. He'd reminded me what actually mattered. Some lessons cost everything to learn. I was lucky. I'd learned mine and survived. The Aegean sunrise came back to me. The moment hanging from that railing, arms screaming, listening to Tyler confess. The moment I'd chosen to hold on.
The acquisition
not
is
just to the
crucial
railing,
for our market
to
position.
life itself.
We need